Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will be looking at AQA AS Psychology 2019 Paper 1 Exemplar Answers for Psychopathology, which you need to know for AQA A-Level Psychology. I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. Let's get started. Please note that these answers have been produced with knowledge of the mark scheme but have not been approved by the mark scheme themselves. There are 3 assessment objectives, AOs, in psychology. In this video they are color-coded. AO1 Knowledge, purple. AO2 Application, blue. AO3 Evaluation, red and green. In AS there are 12 mark questions, instead of 16 mark questions. For the purpose of this video and to avoid confusion for A-Level, the 12 mark questions have been turned into 16 mark questions. Question 1. Outline 2 definitions of abnormality. 4 marks. One definition of abnormality is statistical infrequency, which is defined as abnormal behavior, thinking or traits that are statistically or numerically rare, uncommon, or anomalous within a population. It relies on the use of up-to-date statistics and focuses on the quantity of behavior measured in standard deviations from the mean rather than the quality, occupying the extreme ends of a normal distribution curve. A second definition of abnormality is deviation from social norms, which is defined as abnormal behavior that goes against or contravenes laws, unwritten rules, or expectations in a given society, culture, or situation. Therefore, any behavior that does not conform to accepted or expected standards is abnormal. Question 2. Give 2 cognitive characteristics that might occur in someone who has obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD. 2 marks. One cognitive characteristic that might occur in someone that has OCD is insight into irrationality of thoughts and behavior, with sufferers being aware that their behavior is irrational and not being resisted, but feeling unable to share with others their struggles, which creates a further issue of being able to control them consciously, causing further anxiety. A second cognitive characteristic that might occur in someone that has OCD is hypervigilance and selective attention, with sufferers having an increased awareness of source of obsession in new situations. A researcher treating obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, compares 2 therapies. Therapy A requires clients to attend a 20-week course and Therapy B requires a matched sample of clients to attend a different 20-week course. The clients are all females who are 40 years old. At the beginning and at the end of the 20-week courses, each client gives a satisfaction with life rating out of a possible score of 30, where a high score indicates high satisfaction. Question 3. What is a matched pairs design? 2 marks. Matched pairs design is when a pair of participants are matched on a particular key variable or characteristic that is relevant to the experiment and could affect the dependent variable potentially ascertained through the use of a pretest, e.g., completing a questionnaire to determine relevant information, and then participants from each matched pair take part in different conditions of the 4. Participants with the 2 highest scores are paired, then the next 2 highest score are paired, and so on until all participants are paired. One participant from each pair would then be randomly allocated to a different condition of the experiment, usually either the experimental group or control group. Question 4. How is using a matched pairs design an improvement on an independent group's design? 1 mark. Using a matched pairs design is an improvement on an independent group's design because matched pairs DANEs have high control of participant variables. By matching participants on relevant characteristics, like age, gender, or ability, this design controls for individual differences that could affect the outcome. This helps to isolate the effect of the independent variable more effectively. Question 5. Identify 1 other variable on which the clients must be matched in this study. 1 mark. One other variable that the clients should be matched with in this study is the type of OCD they have. At the end of the 20-week therapy courses, the median ratings for each group are as follows. Table 1 median satisfaction with life ratings for Therapy A and Therapy B at the beginning and the end of the 20-week courses. Question 6. What do the median values in Table 1 suggest? Justify your answer. 4 marks. The median values suggest that the participants were well matched at the start of the study, as their median satisfaction ratings were very similar, 0.5 difference, before they had experienced their courses. The median values also suggest that Therapy B is a more successful course than Therapy A, as the final ratings increased, by 5.0, more for B than for A, although both therapies were successful, as the ratings at the end of the courses were both higher than the matching ratings at the start of the therapies. Therapy A plus 4.5 and Therapy B plus 9.5. Question 7. Explain why collecting qualitative data in this study might have been a more useful way of assessing the effectiveness of the two therapies. 2 marks. Collecting qualitative data in this study might have been a more useful way of assessing the effectiveness of the two therapies, because qualitative data would allow the clients to express fully their reasons for their therapy ratings, so the researchers can be more sure that their conclusions about the therapies are both valid and reliable, as the single number ratings about their feelings before and after therapy do not explain in any detail how the therapy affected the clients. Question 8. Describe and evaluate the two-process model as an explanation of phobias. 8 marks. One behaviorist explanation of phobias is the two-process model. This model was proposed by Hobart Mowrer, 1960, and emphasizes the role of learning in phobias. It suggests that phobias are learnt through classical conditioning, learning through association first demonstrated by Ivan Pavlov, and maintained through operant conditioning, learning through consequences, demonstrated by Skinner. An anxiety-provoking unconditioned stimulus, UCS, results in an unconditioned fear response, UCR, as humans naturally fear pain. A UCS is associated with a neutral stimulus, NS, to create a conditioned stimulus, CS, through threatening and negative experiences, which produced a conditioned response, CR, of fear. These phobias are sometimes generalized to similar objects or situations. This conditioned fear response is maintained through operant conditioning, through negative reinforcement, where a person avoids the feared object or situation and as a result is rewarded with a desirable reduction in unpleasant feelings, e.g. anxiety, which increases the likelihood of this avoid behavior being repeated. A strength of the two-process model as a behaviorist explanation of phobias is there is empirical research to support the idea that classical conditioning leads to the development of phobias. Watson and Rayner, 1920, used classical conditioning to create a phobia in an infant called Little Albert. Albert was given a white rat to play with. At first he did not demonstrate a fear response towards the rat. The researchers then repetitively made loud noises which frightened Little Albert when he was playing with the rat. Little Albert then demonstrated fear behaviors, e.g. crawling away, whimpering, when presented with the rat. This fear was then generalized to similar animals and objects. Little Albert had developed a phobia of white rats because he was conditioned to associate the white rat with a loud noise, e.g. banging. This is a strength because it suggests that phobias can be understood and treated through behavioral approaches, particularly by addressing the learned associations formed through classical conditioning. A limitation of the two-process model as a behaviorist explanation of phobias is that there is research to support an alternative biological explanation of phobias. Seligman, 1970, proposed that certain phobias can be explained through biological preparedness, the idea that humans and other animals are evolutionarily predisposed to have innate tendencies to fear certain stimuli that pose a threat to survival. For example, many people have an innate fear of snakes, spiders, or heights, which may be linked to the dangers these creatures posed to ancestors. Ancestors who avoided these stimuli were more likely to survive and live long enough to pass on their genes and reproduce. The idea of biological preparedness is further supported by Ost and Hugdahl, 1981, who claims that nearly half of all people with phobias have never had an anxious experience with the object of their fear, and some have had no experience at all. For example, Some snake phobics have never encountered a snake. This is a limitation because it suggests that the two-process model may not account for all the factors involved in the development of phobias. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Bye.